What is up, world? I'm Dave LaFave, and you are watching Primetime Carolina. Today, we're going to be looking at the Panthers' first depth chart released here at the end of training camp, going into the Week 1 preseason game against the Washington Commanders. Before we get into this, please like and subscribe to the channel. It's very helpful, and we really appreciate it. With that being said, let's check this out. Now, obviously, I'm just here on the team website as they posted it on here. So we're gonna give it a quick look at the offense. So here, what stands out? I think we can all see it. The offensive line, that left guard position, that left tackle position. This is something that Tanner and I have really talked about on the podcast, and it's a little frustrating to see Akeem Ikwanu get pushed to the side a little bit here with this initial depth chart. But I mean, I guess it's whatever. It's understandable. It's a rookie and you want him to earn his job. But as bad as the offensive line was last year, to take a guy in the top 6 picks and then go out of your way to keep him out of the starting lineup going into the first preseason game is kind of silly in my opinion. But I don't see this staying this way for long, especially by the time the Week 1 regular season game gets here. I'm almost certain he'll find his way into that starting lineup. If not at left tackle, definitely at left guard. And the other thing that stands out here to me is center. Obviously, Pat Elfine's listed as a co-starter with Bradley Bozeman. Again, very silly. I don't understand why Matt Rule refuses to just act like a professional coach and name a guy a starter. So he's got two centers, and we'll get to quarterbacks in a second where he has two players listed as well. But I would imagine Elfine's going to find his way into the second unit as the season goes on. He's just been so bad the last couple seasons, and I don't see any way he can stay in that starting lineup. I would imagine Bradley Bozeman will take over that center position. And then as time goes on, Ikem Ekwonu and Brady Christensen will settle in at left guard and left tackle. I'm not sure which way it's going to go, who's going to play where. I would imagine Ekwonu is going to eventually find that spot at left tackle, being that that's the reason they drafted him. But as you can see, Matt Rule's being a little stubborn about this, so we'll see what happens. But as far as the rest of the offense, there's really no surprises here. The only thing I did notice about this that's a little different is the Panthers have two tight ends listed, um, which they haven't done under Matt Rule since he's been here. They've been a three wide receiver depth chart team. So I guess with Ben McAdoo's new offense, you can expect to see two tight end sets and more of a commitment to the running game. All right. So that brings us to the quarterback position, which we were just talking about. Matt Rule has two guys listed as the starter, and we all know who the real starter is. So I don't know why he insists on doing this, but whatever. It's not going to last, so I'm not going to put too much energy into worrying about it. Baker Mayfield will be starting for this team week 1. I guarantee it. And then also he has PJ Walker listed ahead of Matt Corral. Again, he has this obsession with making rookies feel like they have to earn their spot. So it is what it is. I wouldn't expect that to last either. Unless the Panthers can unload Sam Darnold to a very quarterback needy team. I would imagine PJ Walker wouldn't even be on this roster come week 1. So eventually I think that'll change as well. One more thing, I guess, for the wide receivers, Shi Smith's listed in the top 6, which is kind of a big deal for him. Now, CJ Saunders actually had an injury recently, and he's going to miss some time. He's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks, and honestly, that's probably going to end up costing him his job because he needed to be in there to get these opportunities to earn his spot. So, I'm not crazy, but I like CJ Saunders. But if it's between him and Shi Smith and Brandon Zylstra, that's the guy I would least like to see make the roster. I don't not like any of them, but out of the 3, the 2 I would pick would be Zylstra and Smith. And it looks like right now those are the guys who are going to get the most opportunities to make that roster at the end of the day. So now we'll look at the defense. So we got Brian Burns, Derek Brown, Matt Ioannidis, Yetur Gross-Matos, Shaq Thompson, Damian Wilson, and Frankie Luvu. The only surprise here to me, I guess, would be that Damian Wilson's in that starting 3 linebackers ahead of Corey Littleton. I would have thought it would have been the other way around, but other than that, everything looks about as expected. And then the corners as well. The only surprise I'll say with the corners is that Stanley Thomas Oliver is not in these top 6 corners. He's listed as a 4th string player, even behind Kalen Barnes. And Chris Westry is a guy who originally I said, keep an eye on. I think he's going to have a shot to do some things. Probably not make this team, but probably get signed on to another team when this season ends. Or excuse me, when this preseason ends. But it's interesting to me that Kalen Barnes has put himself ahead of Stanley Thomas Oliver, who's a guy that, I like a lot personally, especially a special teams player. But Kalen Barnes might bring a little more to the table. He plays the same position, and Stanley Thomas Oliver has good speed, but Kalen Barnes is literally one of the fastest players to ever play that position. He ran the fastest time at the combine ever for a player at that position. So maybe that speed is going to be enough to keep him on the roster because it brings something else to the special teams unit. Safeties, again, this is something we talked about before. Very, very deep unit. So it's very hard, to decipher who's going to be the guy left out. But right now, Sam Franklin listed as a 4th-string player. So that's kind of surprising in my opinion. I would think he would get nods ahead of, perhaps Kenny Robinson and Sean Chandler. Now, personally, I like Kenny Robinson more than Sam Franklin, but I don't think Matt Rhule's always seen it that way. And out of that group, to me, Sean Chandler's the worst player of the group, but it looks like they've got him listed as a 2nd-string player. So we'll see what happens at that safety position with those position battles. And then special teams, nothing surprising there. Andre Roberts is going to be that return man. JJ Jansen is going to be the long snapper. Hecker will be the punter. And then Gonzalez will be the kicker, obviously. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you're still here, like and subscribe and keep pounding.